Welcome to the Lou Riley Live Show, a podcast about health, wellness, motivation, and success. Now, here's your host, Mr. Lou Riley.
Good afternoon, good people. This is Lou Riley coming at you live from Nashville, Tennessee. It is June the 18th. It's Tuesday. It's NBA Finals Game 6. It's all that good stuff going on today. So just want to thank you for taking a minute to tune in to this episode, to take a chance on listening to what I've got to say, and hopefully this stuff makes some sense and adds a little more to who you are and what you've got going on in pursuit of your dreams. I definitely want to take a second here to encourage you to, little housekeeping, to follow me on, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. All of those are at Lou Riley Live. All those, Lou Riley Live on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Follow me in those places. You'll be able to receive this podcast from there if you're not listening from some of those places already. And as I grow more and do more, I'll be putting things out on those channels that may not come through by way of simply this podcast. So just want to encourage you to do those things. And also because it would be great to dialogue with some of you. Some of you will have started to send messages and some words of encouragement towards me on the social networks, and I definitely am in your debt. I really truly appreciate the fact that you just turned this thing on to listen. You know, when we talk about dreams, and this was once a dream of mine, I promise you, when it came to this, my first thought was, well, heck, who'd listen to me? You know, honestly, and it may sound crazy, but that's true. That part of that goes to my head. But fortunately, I finally reached a place where I was able to walk through that and get right into making this happen. So I'm hoping that you continue to enjoy these podcasts. I'm hoping that I'm giving you or bringing you a great message. And I just want to share some more with you. So today, in this episode, we're going to continue talking about some of those obstacles that ultimately keep us away from our dreams. And today's obstacle is simply that fear of failure. And for the dreamer, that fear of failure increases itself exponentially. Because when you decide to chase after your dreams, when you decide to put out into the universe those things that you want to be, do, and have, and you actively pursue it, what you've done now is you've put yourself on the line. And that's because you stepped away from the ability to use the excuse, well, hey, I really didn't care if it happened for me anyway. You don't have that excuse. You ever met people who something didn't work out? Well, no big deal. I didn't care about it too much anyway. I was just trying to see. Well, for the person who meets with failure and they're pursuing their dreams, it is a big deal. It's a big deal because you've put your all and your all into trying to do, become, or have something. And when it doesn't work out, it hurts. Hurts a lot. But that's one of the keys to life. One of life's, I don't want to say mysteries, but maybe it is a mystery to some. And what comes to mind is a poem. And I can visualize the poet, but I cannot come up with his name. I can pause this and Google it real quick, but it might take away from the natural integrity of the flow I've got going on here. Khalil Gibran is the name of the artist. There it comes. There it came to me. Khalil Gibran. And he wrote something to the effect of, and if you ever get a chance, Google some Khalil Gibran and check out some of his writing. Incredible poet, incredible writer, visionary, and some of his things are just, to be honest, are just timeless, just completely timeless. But he says that, and he talks about life and love and living, but he says that, the thing about life is, it's not, some people are afraid they laugh, but they never get out all of their laughter. and they cry, but they never cry all their tears. And it's kind of likened to a person who's never experienced the fullness of life. You've never experienced the fullness of life. You've never really put your heart and soul on the line because you're afraid of what might happen. Isn't that the reason so many people are afraid of falling in love or falling in love again? Because they know and understand what heartache feels like. They know what it is to have a broken heart, to feel unwanted, to feel like I've put my everything into this relationship and this other person still disrespected me, or it didn't work out. You know, how many arguments, how many relationship fights do you know about that happen because somebody put their all into it, and only to find that no matter how hard they worked and how much they gave, they still wound up heartbroken. Many people never come back from that, you know, and that's no different than chasing after your dreams, than pursuing your dreams, chasing after a goal. It's no different than that when you truly put your heart into it. Because if you take a chance on success, you also take a chance on failure. Okay? That's just the way it is. You can't consider winning and losing not be a possibility. Why is that? It's because that's just the balance that life demands. It's the yin and the yang. It's the up and the down, the in and the out, the top and the bottom. For every win, someone must fail. You know, isn't that a song? But, but it's all about balance. So you have to understand that it's possible. But the thing is, if you never try, you never know whether you could or whether you couldn't. You know? You just won't. As I said someplace, you don't have to be great to get started, but you do have to get started in order to be great. So many of you are still got your feet in the starting blocks. You kind of got a feel for what you want to do, and you sort of know where you want to be, and you know the kind of house you want to live in, and the kind of car you want to drive, and the kind of man, the kind of woman you want to marry, the kind of clothes you want to wear, and the places you want to go visit. You got all these things worked out in your head, except for the how to get there. There's a how, and chances are it's a bit different for each of us, but it's possible for all of us. Okay? Let me get back on track. Because we're talking about having a fear of failure. We fear failure. We fear failure because we are afraid of the pain that it's going to bring, that it could potentially bring us. And some of us are so conditioned until the fear of failure keeps us from trying. Okay? I want to share a story with you. And full disclosure, I had first heard this story told by Les Brown. And his was a much shorter version and highly effective. And I guess that's the magic behind who he's put his time in to become. And someone that I emulate and I look up to, especially when it comes to motivational speaking, when it comes to communicating a message and being clear and being able to give people enough for them to reach out and grab onto and to begin to figure out their own ways and their own destinies from that. But Les Brown told a story about a gentleman named Roger Bannister. And I'm sure that many of you under the sound of my voice who've never heard the name Roger Bannister, you can Google it, but let me tell you who he is. Roger Bannister is the first human being in recorded history to ever run a sub 4-minute mile. Okay? That was a goal of his. That was his dream. To run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Now, how does this relate to living your dreams and going past the fear of failure and holding on to what's true and believing in yourself, even though there are those around you that are close to you, that are near and dear to you who don't believe. Let me explain this story. When Roger approached the idea and communicated that he was going to run the sub 4-minute mile, he was going to run a mile in less than 4 minutes, scientists and many others stepped out to say they came up with their facts, okay? Number one, of course, a man cannot run a mile in less than 4 minutes. They said that anyone who attempted this would probably die after making such a foolish attempt. They said that the bone structure of the human being was completely inadequate for achieving such a goal. They said that the wind resistance that would occur in someone trying to seriously run a mile in under 4 minutes, that the wind resistance was just too great. They said that the human being's lung power was inadequate in order to sustain the type air that a person needed in order to push their bodies to that point to being able to run a mile in under 4 minutes. And they said that the human heart just wasn't made to withstand the strain that someone would take on when trying to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But for some reason, Roger Bannister ignored the so-called experts. And in his ignoring those experts and not allowing their fears to be translated into his fears, he ran thousands and thousands of laps because he was determined that with every lap that he ran, he was going to shape his body and shape his mind in order to prepare him to achieve that goal that he set. And one day, on May 6th, back in 1954, and understand that he had tried to run a sub 4-minute mile with no success. So not only was this a dream not yet achieved, but he had proof that when he tried, he failed. But sometimes, have you ever tried a thing and not done well at it, but you know to yourself, I could have done better. I could have done this differently. I could have changed this around. And I could have prepared better. I could have prepared more. Your mind starts analyzing what you could have done in order to make that more successful or to increase your chances of success. I can only imagine that the same was happening with Roger Bannister. So, like I said, on May 6th back in 1954, he made what was yet considered another foolish attempt. Here he goes again, wanting us to clock his time because he thinks he's going to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But on that day, he set out to fulfill his dream. And they took off and they're running this race. He's running this mile time. And at the end, the results came in. And the person said, or the announcer said that the result of 1 mile, the time, 3 minutes. And when they said the 3 minutes, the crowd just went crazy because the rest was inconsequential. His official time was 3 minutes, 59 seconds and 0.4 tenths of a thousand. He had achieved his goal of running a mile in less than 4 minutes, despite what the naysayers said. But here's what's more amazing about that. To this day, after he achieved what was said to be impossible, after he did what no one else in the recorded history of the world had ever done, to this day, 20,000 other people have run a mile in less than 3 minutes. So what happened? Did Roger Bannister spark a brand new way for human beings to be constructed? Did he unlock some secret? And yeah, maybe he did. Or did he simply remove the mental barriers that existed in our minds? Okay? People didn't undergo some change. There wasn't an evolution in man, that allowed us that now, ever since 1954, we've got this new structure that allows us to run a mile in under 3 minutes. No. The only change was his mindset and the mindset of others, because now that someone has proven that it can be done, you can no longer say it can't. And so just maybe your dream needs you to be its Roger Bannister. Maybe the reason your dream hasn't come true is because you've yet to shape your body and your mind in a fashion that's going to enable you to complete what it is you were put here to do. And maybe it's because that sharpening of your mind and your body can be such an arduous task, can be such a demanding task, that the reason why there are so few people who achieve their goal is because of just that. Because the majority of us fear defeat. We fear defeat. We fear the possibility of losing. We sometimes even fear the pain that we might endure when trying to win. So please take that, store that away someplace in the back of your mind where you can make use of it from time to time. Because I think it's a great story. And you can Google Les Brown, you can Google Roger Bannister and check out other renditions of the story. But I just wanted to share that for this purpose, for the purpose of this podcast, to just give a real example of, an individual who went past what everyone said the limitation was and stepped into what they believed their destiny was. Guys, this is Lou Riley. I'm signing off from this podcast. Also want to remind you, please follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at Lou Riley Live, LOURILEYLIVE. Be on the lookout for more coming soon. I got a blog that I'm putting together that I'm going to start hosting some of these podcast episodes on, and some additional information, maybe do some videos as well as I have done in the past as I'm on my own journey and figuring things out for myself. So look forward to sharing it with you guys. I may drop another podcast episode this week as well, but should I not, may these words keep you until we hear again. Folks, this is Lou Riley signing off. You have a great rest of the day, and as far as the NBA Finals tonight, go Lakers. That's how I feel. You guys take care.